Back with us on the SportsMax Zone, providers of online meeting and event hosting platforms have been making a killing as COVID-19 changes the way people interact. Tomorrow, Saturday, August 8th, Grace Foods will be using one of these facilities to stage its first ever virtual Jerk Fest. The event will feature some huge names in the entertainment business, the likes of Jacure, Beanie Man, Alison Hines, and Lila Ike. Today, the SportsMax Zone will be talking to one of these stars. This star is young, female, an exponent of reggae music. She hails from Christiana in Manchester and is now part of the Indignation Camp, spearheaded by the man from St. Elizabeth, Santa Cruz to be precise. His house is on the main road, if you don't believe me, next door to St. Elizabeth Technical High School, but he went to Monroe. His name, Protege. Her mother named her Alicia Gray, but she is known universally, and by universally I mean, universally, as Lila Ike. She's our guest today. Lila, welcome to the SportsMax Zone.
Bless up, thanks for having me.
Excellent. All right, so first question to ask you is the obvious question. How has COVID-19, the pandemic, and the attendant restrictions on everyone, sort of slowed you down, if at all it has had that effect on you?
I wouldn't say slow me down because, we had to find other things to occupy. Well, personally, I just found other things to occupy my time. I think the biggest thing or the biggest setback for me was just the fact that I released my very first project this year. And due to the whole corona situation, I wasn't able to tour and promote the project. But we still, we have to utilize technology and get stuff done same way.
Yeah, that was an EP. What was the name of the project? What was the title?
Yeah, it was called The Experience. Yeah.
And tell me a little about it. What did you collaborate with anyone? Were you just doing the songs by yourself? Who helped you to produce the piece of work?
Yeah, I didn't collaborate with any artists. I actually wanted to this first project to just be all me on it. So it's 7 songs. We collaborated though with different producers. So for where I'm coming from, most of them, well, all of them are actually Jamaican. So all Jamaican producers. Where I'm coming from by a producer called Casper. Most people know him for his works with Munga. I collaborated with him named Izzy. He is known for the song with Coffee. I collaborated with Winter James, who produced most of Protege's past albums. A couple young upcoming producers that are really good friends of mine, are very talented. Ayatosh, JLL, Zaya.
Yeah, I read something where you said you spoke about the reception to reggae music from persons outside of Jamaica, especially Europe, and over time that has been huge. I was a huge Lucky Dubé fan. I should say I am, even though he's passed and gone. And there are so many international acts who've taken on to reggae and have huge followings outside. So it would stand to reason that the authentic people, not to say that those outside where exponents aren't authentic, but you get what I mean, the organic reggae exponents are so much appreciated outside of Jamaica. Tell me about the experience. What is it that you think that causes people outside Jamaica to be so gaga about the music, whereas people here are a little more understated and reserved in their appreciation?
I feel like Jamaican culture in general is one that a lot of people find very exciting. I mean, even if you just go somewhere outside of Jamaica, any country, and you're a Jamaican, and you pull up, you try to order food or something, and they hear the way you speak, immediately somebody's gonna be like, yo, are you Jamaican? And it becomes one whole thing. That's my personal experience when I go there. So we all know that Jamaican music is special, and it has contributed and impacted a lot of other genres over the world. So when I go to Europe, where I find people really love reggae music in Europe, I don't know why, but people really and truly love reggae music in Europe. I get a lot of people come out, they check out the shows. It's all really great feedback throughout the entire show. People are very receptive. You tell them, hey, put up their hands. They're very responsive. Whatever it is, they're just really in tune to the show. I think the difference is, as them say, if you grow up around something and it's always been there, that your appreciation for it is not is not as much as somebody who comes and realizes that this thing is of real value and is very special and is also kind of different to them or something that they can't completely understand themselves but finds fascinating. So I guess that's why when you go out and you give the music and you share it with people, for sure outsiders are going to definitely be more into it because it's new and exotic for them.
Lila, I feel like I understand exactly what you're talking about because I'm Trini and I remember, well, back home I would listen to reggae and dancehall all the time, and when I came to Jamaica and the accent, and I felt like I was in heaven just listening to y'all speak all the time. I was like, wow, I must be in heaven.
Yeah, man, and it's the same thing. Like, I've never been to Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I won't lie, I'm not like a huge soca fan.
Right.
But it's definitely like, you hear and recognize that, these people talk different. You can't recognize your accent, but I can. And it's something special to me. And I've actually wanted to go to Carnival there this year to jump because I was like, it looks exciting. I have a friend who really likes it and she invited me, and so I was going to try it out. So it's really just, people are just fascinated with different cultures, and usually when it's yours, you don't see it because you're living it.
We should definitely go next year. I'll carry you and you'll definitely have a good time. Carnival is something you definitely...
I plan to.
you don't want to miss. It's something you want to at least experience once in your life. So you're a female, you're young, you're beautiful, and it's always difficult when you're beautiful and young to try to stamp your space in any industry, especially when it's male dominated. How do you do it with so much ease?
I feel like throughout my life, certain experiences that I've gone through, it kind of just coined me into a very confident and a very strong woman. So just having that underlying energy and that underlying force already going into an industry that's male dominated, I already know what I'm going in for. I know I've heard the stories of everything that goes down. And for me, I guess when I just started out, before I started working with Protégé, and I'm going to different spaces and meeting different people, I kind of just give off a certain energy to just get them to understand that, I'm really just here to work. And if that's not what you're about, then I'm definitely not going to be associated with you. But fortunately, early on in my career, like a year after I decided I really wanted to do music and take it seriously, I actually met Protégé, and his whole approach is, very professional, understands, the music, has vision and everything. And it's a very relaxing and comfortable experience thus far.
Lila, the term downtime has been attached to the COVID-19 shutdown since March globally in many spheres of people's lives. But in the kind of field that you are in, hasn't it been a time because of how slow things get compared to what you're normally accustomed to, that it's a good platform for you to write and get introspective and bring out new things in what you do?
Definitely, for sure, because last year and the year before, I definitely did a lot of traveling, like constantly on a plane, going from one place to the next. Most times when I go to certain places, I'm literally there for just a couple of hours. So you don't even get the true experience of anywhere really when you're touring a lot. And so when the COVID situation came, as I mentioned before, the biggest setback for me was just that I wasn't able to tour because I actually have new music now that I want to promote. But it has definitely provided advantages in different ways. Like I get to rest. I don't think I'll ever get this much time off from traveling again in my life, in my career, unless another pandemic happens. But yeah, for sure, it gives you the opportunity to kind of zone in on yourself. So I took up the guitar about 3 years ago, and I've made a lot of progress just taking it up every day now that I actually have the time for it. I spend a lot of time watching music, watching different showcases from way back, and just kind of zoning in on the instruments that were being played from even Bob Marley them time, and get the concept of how they approach even live performances. And of course, doing writing and, just doing some other things too, outside of, being in the studio every day. For me personally, staying inspired has a lot to do with how I go about my everyday life outside of music. you know, and even though we're not able to go anywhere or go to parties or wherever, you know, the time for just take up a book, probably go by the river or wherever, go out of town, stay somewhere else. So it's definitely have been like a good. I don't really have a problem with it. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You know.
And finally, for those looking to log on, and there will be plenty of people home and abroad who will be logging on to the Grace Virtual Jerk Festival, the first of its kind, what can they look forward to from your set?
Well, I think that virtual show was actually the very first major, you know, virtual production that I've done all year. So I definitely sang a few of the songs from my project, and that was the first time I was singing them live. So you'll be able to hear a couple of the songs that have been released on the project live. There's a really good energy from all of the artists because I was there when Jackie was doing his set. I heard a portion of Beanie Man's set, and I know for sure it's going to be a very fulfilling thing for people to enjoy.
Excellent. Lila, I want to wish you all the best in your career. Continue making waves, and we hope that you find time to take in Carnival TNT style. Trust me. You'll wonder why you took so long, all right?
Got it, for sure. Well, I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for featuring me and having me on the show. And,
Anytime.
you know, I really appreciate the support in all aspects.
Excellent.
Take
All
care.
the best to you. Lila Ike will be starring at the Grace Virtual Jerk Fest, August 8 and 9. And yeah, she says she has some new songs and her set will be one that you'll remember. All right? Break time. Back